Hello my friends and welcome back. It has been a Christmas break and I'm rejuvenated and I have an announcement for you. A big one. The biggest one I've ever had. And to lead into it, I'm gonna read the last chapter. Some sentences from my book, from the epilogue, from the last chapter, because I left there a cliffhanger that has now been resolved. It's time. It's time to close this chapter of my life. I'm leaving Kyiv with no plans for any new missions or campaigns. I'm living here as a changed man. From now on, I'll focus primarily on my wife and our future family. I feel that it's time to let go and open a new chapter in my life. My fight for Ukraine's freedom continues from my home country, Estonia. What is this new chapter in my life that I'm yapping about here? That was a cliffhanger and 1.5 years almost has passed since I wrote that last paragraph. And now, my friends, my announcement. Me and my wife, we are expecting a baby. Yes, we made a baby, yeah. Okay, I don't know if I should talk about it like that, but I wanted to share that with you since it has been a secret until now, because we're expecting very soon. It's gonna be a baby girl, actually. And you can guess the name in the comments. I'm not gonna tell you the name, but you can guess it if you want to. Here's my missus. She's very happy. And she's gonna be born very soon. I'll let you know about it when. I'm quite sure you were not ready for it. Hey, I was not ready for it. Actually, I was. It has been a long time in the making. We are both very happy about it and looking forward for this new chapter of our lives. And of course, I'll bring you on with the new chapter as much as I can. And I'll give you updates and sneak peeks and little photos here and there. I'm gonna be a father. You cannot really prepare much for that, I guess. And hell no, I'm not ready. Hell yeah, I'm scared. But I'm gonna go and do it and take any tips and tricks you have for me in the comments. Also, I now wish to thank monthly members of Buy Me a Coffee because they actually give me a sense of security going into this new chapter. I feel there is like this support group or this army of people who I feel like are, pushing me. I feel the support. So I want to give credit where credit is due. Dieter from Germany, thank you. Or danke. Jim Lindberg, Steve Marshall, and finally Gordon Hiuma. Thank you to these four people for signing up and Buy Me a Coffee. If you wish to support me on my new chapter, new life, new fatherhood, Buy Me a Coffee link is in the description below, my friends. I'll keep you updated on this. But now, a Ukrainian update you have been waiting for a long time. Let's go. And of course we have to go to Kupyansk in northern Ukraine, northern eastern front lines. The biggest news before Christmas was that Ukraine conducted a legendary clearing operation of that city, pushing out the Russians and actually trapping. Ukrainians claim 200 Russians. Russians claim something different. But let's go through it, because only yesterday the Russian Ministry of Defense claimed that they control Kupyansk. Check it out. Kupyansk is under the control of the Russian units. The Russian army is currently eliminating small formations of the Ukrainian armed forces and clearing buildings and basements of scattered enemy groups, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. Wow. And this is what I call Lavrovism, where as soon as you open your mouth, lies come out. You are incapable of speaking the truth. Okay, I'm not gonna even go into that. There is a lot of chatter in the Russian Telegram groups because Rehi, the military blogger, posted Kupyansk to be under the control of the armed forces of Ukraine, meaning one of the biggest Russian military bloggers admits that this Russian Ministry of Defense is lying. So people are really confused. Who to believe? Russian mil bloggers are fuming that the Ministry of Defense proof of controlling Kupyansk is a video of 3 soldiers fleeing the city from its northern edge along the Syrsky river, while Russian troops cling only to a couple of plants on the left bank of the river. Kupyansk then vanished from yesterday's reports to Putin. Now, I'll read you a little bit of confused rambling of Russians in the Telegram chatter, because if you really want to monitor what the Russians think, you don't make these monitoring phone calls like they do in the West. You have to look at the Telegram chatter. That's how you get an idea. Kupyansk is ours. It's just that we're leaving it. That's roughly the message sent by 3 videos that spread yesterday's across channels trying to do crisis PR on Kupyansk. What do we see in these videos? And now it goes to open up all these 3 videos. It's quite horrible and bad. I'll skip that. Leaving the city is being used as proof of control of the situation in the city. It's a fiasco. The ways of the holy anti-crisis PR are unfathomable. Forgive the blasphemy, but otherwise only swearing comes to mind. So what do we actually have? 2 videos from the left bank where the enemy basically shouldn't be at all, if not for the botched counterattack, and one from the northmost point of the right bank with soldiers moving towards Radivka. There is one important question about these videos. Why? Just why? How long are we going to play media wars with the enemy instead of doing the job? Very great questions, all of these, and just let me show you a few photos. This is Kupyansk, Russia. Russian soldiers and generals, whoever Russian propagandists are there, say Russia is here forever. Well, if by forever they mean 4 more months, because then Ukrainians were liberated. Here is Melitopol. Russia is here forever. The same went about Kherson. The same went about every city they occupied for some period of time before Ukrainians pushed them out. And I always love this video. This is 20th of November. I've showed you this many times, but it's just too good. I mean, this is right. This is Kuzovlev, General Kuzovlev, who now reported to Putin and Gerasimov that Kupyansk is under the control of armed forces of Russia. 20th. And Putin has все закончились, with everything finished, we control Kupyansk, yes, all good. Так точно, yes sir, everything is under our control, Mr. Putin, don't you worry. Putin really liked that answer, and you know what he did? He gave the guy a medal of Hero of Russia on 9th of December. Look at that. He really liked that answer. Yes sir, так точно, Kupyansk is ours. Okay, good, general, take medal. This is 9th of December. Do you know what happened on the 12th of December, 3 days later? Surprise! Ukrainians pushed the Russians out of Kupyansk. A process in the making for the last 2 months, actually. So this guy just flat out lied to Gerasimov and Putin in the face. Just lied. Just flat out. Made it up. He got a medal for it, because in Russia they actually give you a medal if you lie. That's how it works. Молодец, well done. But then, 3 days later, when the Ukrainians pushed out the Russians from Kupyansk and Putin found out, what happened to this guy? What do you think? Did he drink tea? Did he learn to fly? Is he sleeping with the fishes? All of these are correct because he's missing. He's gone. We don't know really what happened to him, but he's no more. He's pushing up daisies somewhere. It's just too good. It's like it's a comedy movie. And here is a chatter. Again, if you want to monitor, you can pause the video. I'm not going to read it all to you, but Russian Telegram they're really confused because their Ministry of Defense is claiming Kupyansk is theirs. Then the military bloggers are showing maps and videos that Kupyansk is under the control of Ukraine. People are confused and they cannot make up their minds. Just to give a little context of what we're talking about, I'm using this new map for once because it gives us an idea of which units are deployed to Kupyansk, which Ukrainian units, just to give credit to the units, you know. See, this is Kupyansk here. Definitely controlled by the armed forces of Ukraine. There are some Russians here, by the way, who are trapped. But Ukrainian units, let's give a big round of applause to 105th Defense Brigade. Then 116th Mechanized Brigade. 23rd Rifle Battalion. 2nd Mechanized Battalion, 30th Mechanized Brigade, 14th Mechanized Brigade, 131st Intelligence Battalion, and finally 27th Rocket Artillery Brigade. A round of applause to the heroes who did the job, and now General Guzovlev is somewhere sleeping with the fishes. By the way, did you think, okay, how many of the generals Russian army has sent to sleep with the fishes, or the Ukrainians? Well, ask no more, my friends. Here is a photo for you. This is the Russian General Bingo. I don't know if you have been playing. I have been playing. Now, this is a long game. This bingo game has been going on for 4 years almost, and altogether 18 Russian generals have been sent to meet with their maker, where they're now happily sleeping with the fishes. By the way, if I said I'm monitoring the Russian Telegram for you, there's some other chatter that I saved for last because it's the juiciest. Check it out. Kupyansk is currently experiencing heavy snowfall and freezing temperatures. The weather is hindering the intensive use of drones, considering that the crests are advancing there. It's like this really bad word they use for Ukrainians. General Frost is playing on the Ukrainian side this time. Contact with the remnants of our garrison in Kupyansk has been completely lost. Wow! Several companies of our assault aircraft are trapped in a cauldron. And there's talk about 500 Russian troops. Ukrainians themselves claim it's about 200 Russian troops. Wherever the truth is, usually somewhere in the middle, there are a few hundred Russian troops caught in the cauldron of Kupyansk, and now it's cold and it's snowing. Well, snow means they get free water, cold means they get free pass to the afterlife. So yeah, this is what the Finnish did in the Winter War. I don't know if you remember. I don't think we have anybody here who actually fought in the Winter War, but if you actually fought in the Winter War, man, you are a god. This is what they did to the Russian troops in the Winter War. This is a real photo except for the Christmas decorations. But the guy itself is real. The Russian soldier froze to a popsicle, to an icicle, and the Finnish put him upside down, popped him into the snow, and now, of course, with the help of a little bit of a Photoshop, we can add Christmas decorations to this beautiful Christmas tree. This is what's gonna happen to the Russians inside Kupyansk. By the way, how these 500 Russians, before the snowfall, 1 to 2 weeks ago actually, I mean, let's say 15th of December, it was not snowing yet there. How did they get water? Because they were cut off. And the drones were supplying them, but not enough. So this is how they got water. In the dugouts, they decided to dig even deeper. Like the dwarves, but the dwarves got greedy and woke up the Balrog, the ancient demon of... Okay, it's not Lord of the Rings, sorry. But yeah, they actually digging up the mud. And the mud, they dig until the mud is wet. And the wet mud, they are getting the water out of it. Look, that's how it is. So I'm sure we all know that drinking this kind of water might be really bad for you. None of us, I guess, knows exactly why. Well, let me read you a list. They will kill themselves eventually. I present to you a proud list of diseases and bacteria that will eat you from the inside out. Leptospirosis, E. coli, we all know what that is at least, Salmonella, Campylobacter, cholera, Shigella, Giardiasis, Cryptosporidiosis. Now, is that a cryptocurrency or a death disease? You tell me. Amoebiasis, Hepatitis A, Norovirus, and Rotavirus. Let's give a round of applause to these proud players for liberating the Ukrainian land and giving the Russians the shits. But what do you do if you are a Russian and there's a lot of bent up anger in you for not being able to shoot out the Ukrainians from Kupyansk? Well, naturally, you go to Donetsk city into one of the stores and open fire on everything you see. Just everything. Just because you are Russian. Everything. Not the people even, but just like the bottles and the shelves and the whole store. What are you gonna do? You're Russian with a gun. You don't know what to do with your anger. Of course you're gonna do this. Yeah, it's just the savage way, you know. From the front, this video came out And this is a Brazilian volunteer. Shout out to all the Brazilians watching. This is a guy from your country actually putting his life in danger to liberate the Ukrainian ground and push out the savages and barbarians. It's wonderful. He is taking Russian prisoner of war. Check it out.
Calma.
Calma. Ghetto. I'm only guessing calma and ghetto is calm and quiet. How do I it sounds familiar, you know. And this is like a Russian, I don't know, it reminds me of some kind of a bug crawling out of the burrow.
Calma. Quantos? Quantos acá? Quantos?
This Russian is like, what is this I'm hearing? I guess when he was little, he was watching these Brazilian soap shows, these, you know, hundreds of episodes that aired in Russia in the 90s. And now he's hearing that. The childhood comes back. Quietos, calma. Is this a soap opera? But no, it's a Brazilian soldier actually showing you how it goes.
1, 2, 3. Quantos?
Quantos? Look at that, the face of a Brazilian hero. My man, love it. If you know this dude, please put it in the comments. Let's give him credit. Yeah, he got a medal for it, of course, yes. I have no idea how to speak Brazilian. I'm guessing juntas aos mejores. Correct me, please. By the way, of course, if you are not able to save your guys in Kupyansk, I'm talking about from the perspective of the Russians, you gotta send in the heavy cavalry. You know the Polish that send in the winged hussars to push out the Turks from the gates of Vienna? Well, the Russians sent their own winged hussars. And here is one of those winged hussar. I kid you not, when I say cavalry, like the United States still has a cavalry brigade, they use tanks because they just have the name for the historical purposes, but that cavalry is now tanks. But in Russia, when you say cavalry, you mean cavalry. I present to you the Russian winged hussar, 2 of them actually. One of them just connected to drone of freedom and the other one just tripped. Now I gotta say, I do really feel bad for the animals. And if I say the animals, I don't mean the Russians, I mean the horses. They shouldn't be there. They did nothing wrong. The Russians went there for the money, but the horses, they were tricked. So yeah, I'm sorry. I cannot. These horses, they deserve a better life than to carry on around the Russians. Now, we'll talk about the peace negotiations. I don't really like to talk about that because Donald Trump is leading them and Donald Trump has no clue what he's doing. He never did. But he said something so strange, I have to share it with you. On 29th of December, so he said this while Zelensky was standing right next to him. Now correct me if I'm wrong, was this in Mar-a-Lago, his villa? Well, Zelensky was right next to him. Check it out.
Russia wants to see Ukraine succeed. Once, it sounds a little strange, but I was explaining.
Russia wants to see Ukraine succeed, and Zelensky's right next to him. He has to play this game. He does, because those are the rules. You cannot go against these negotiations because Trump is leading it, and Trump controls very valuable military support that goes to Ukraine from United States even now. So Zelensky has to play this game. But when you hear a sentence like that, Russia wants to see Ukraine succeed. So how do they want to see Ukrainians succeed? I guess by killing their children. You know, that's a way to show that you want them to succeed. Yeah.
To the president, President Putin was very generous in his feeling toward Ukraine.
President Putin was very generous towards his feelings towards you.
Including supplying...
Okay, so yeah, I don't want to really cover these peace rounds because they are bollocks, because Trump is a moron. That's all I gotta say. Here is the only peace negotiation round I accept. This peace negotiation round is carried by a Ukrainian soldier who now loads it into an artillery and fires it on top of the occupiers. That's the only peace negotiation round I accept. You can see it written on the round itself. Only peace is when you destroy the Russian army. The Russian army exists only to occupy. So you cannot have peace when the Russians have their army. It's as simple as that. Super simple. Just Trump doesn't understand it. But now, I want to... Like this photo and video came out 2 days before Christmas. Budanov, the leader, the chief of Hur the main directorate of the Ukrainian intelligence, military intelligence, you know, Budanov. Everybody knows Budanov. He decided to surprise Timur's Special Forces unit fighters who are under him, under his control, right? He decided, hey, surprise, I'm gonna visit you on the front in Zaporizhia. This is what I mean when I say leading by an example. We see time and time again Syrsky and Zelensky visiting the front lines in the most dangerous parts. Leading by an example, exposing yourself to the dangers, to the situation of the frontline troops. They see you, and this motivates men. This makes them understand the reasons why they're fighting. It's not that their leaders are somehow above them. No, it's their lives also. Everybody's lives are connected in this struggle. I really respect that. Leading by an example and putting yourself in the same danger as you put your fighters in. It's very important because the fighters might feel like only they are there exposed to the drones and to the missiles and to the tanks. No, it's Budanov also. He is there. If a drone right now connects to this building, he's gone. He knows that, and he accepts that risk because he expects his forces to expect that risk. So I do really respect that. And with that, my friends, I will end today's video. I'm glad to be back, and as I said, I'm going to be a father, and this means my life is going to change. I have no idea how, but I've read some books. So I'm sure many of you are parents or grandparents already, and you have some tips and tricks for me. What I can say is the first months are gonna be, you know how they are. So I'm gonna find a way to make videos for you and to work. It's gonna be tricky, but I'm gonna find a way. I'm gonna keep doing this. If you want to support that new chapter and this new struggle, these new lessons in my life, then buy me a coffee is the best way to do that. And I'll promise you, I'll be back for you creating Ukrainian updates. Until my next video, which will be tomorrow, by the way, and also after tomorrow, Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye.